Am I the a-hole for leaving the hospital after my fiancé told me to pay the bill? For context, me female 26 and my fiancé male 28 have been together for 3 years. Finances are split till after marriage and we have equally paying jobs. He doesn't pay when we eat out. He doesn't pay for any fixes in our rental apartment. It also doesn't help with furniture and stuff. I tried to have conversation about how I'm always supposed to foot the bill for almost everything. His excuse is that he's been saving for a new apartment, been saving up for 2 years now. But he still has half of his salary, which he uses on himself and buys gadgets and gaming stuff. When I tried to argue about it, he'd say it's his money after all and remind me of how he's saving up to buy an apartment for us. Days ago, he called me and asked that I take him to the hospital to treat his ankle. It's been hurting him for weeks, but only now he decided to get it checked. I drove him there since he was in pain, but was surprised when he told me to pay the bill. I asked him why not him, and he brought up the new apartment he's been saving up for again. I had it, especially after he threatened to not add my name to the new apartment's title if I refused to help him out. I snapped and told him to pay for himself and stop using my money with the apartment excuse. Then I left. He had to pay but was furious, saying I'd let him down in his time of struggle. Also said that my attitude isn't partner material. I told him I felt like he was using the new apartment to spend my money, but he said I had no empathy or sense of responsibility to support and help him out when he is doing me a huge favor and buying me an entire freaking apartment. He's calling me selfish and negative. I don't know. I feel guilty for doing this and now he's avoiding me entirely. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You are being used. 100% when he has enough money for the apartment, he dumps you. Stop footing the bill. Leave him. There is no savings account. That's what I thought. If he was expecting me to foot the bill on a bunch of stuff that should be shared, I'd want to see the balance of the account on a regular basis. Or at the very least have a signed contract of some sort saying she gets to be on the title, or gets a cash payout in the event he doesn't end up buying an apartment / doesn't put her on the title. Not the a-hole. He is just using you and your money and probably plans to dump you once he buys the apartment. Totally agree. Came to say this. He's using you for your money and not contributing to household expenses. I'd freaking run. Not the a-hole. I doubt he'll buy a place. He has someone paying all his bills, / cleaning up after him, / fun adult activity, / cooking. He isn't leaving unless she cuts him off and throws him out, and there will never be a marriage. Next story. Am I the a-hole for turning off my husband's alarm? Me 31 and my husband 35 both work from home. His start time is 8:30 and the work he does essentially timestamps what he does. He also has a micromanaging boss. On occasion, he may have to go into the office to perform on-site work. My start time is 8 a.m. and the work I do is very independent and at my own pace, and my boss could care less to track my every move as long as my deadlines are met. My husband sets his alarm at 7 a.m. every day, even though he admits he doesn't want to be up until 8:15 at the earliest. But he never wakes up to it. But the rest of us hear it, so my toddler and I usually wake up about 45 minutes earlier than we need to as a result. I've asked him to stop setting it so early, and he said he needs the whole hour of snoozing to wake up. So, he's been on a couch lately, but I still wake up to it from there and have to snooze it every 15 minutes. I'm currently 6 months pregnant, so this morning I was exhausted and didn't want our toddler waking up earlier than needed and wanted the extra sleep myself, so I turned it off. But it was too late. Our toddler already woke up to it, so I got up then got busy with our toddler. Our toddler went to daycare around 8:15. My parents pick up. At 8:27, I realized the time, so I went to wake my husband up and told him I must have accidentally hit off instead of snooze on your alarm when I was tired, but it's almost 8:30. You should get up. And I went about my business working. I took a break and came downstairs to find him asleep at 9:47 a.m. And I jolted him and said, "You're still asleep? It's almost 10. And he said, "No effing way," and ran to his laptop. He told me to stop turning his alarm off and basically don't touch it unless I hit snooze. Thing is, he goes to sleep almost every night around 2 a.m., so he's not gonna wake up to a 7 a.m. alarm 9 out of 10 times. Instead, I always wake up to it and have the task of hitting snooze every 15 minutes anyway. Yes, I technically lied to him about his alarm, but I am literally tired of this, and I did make sure to wake him up on time. Or so I thought. Am I the a-hole? Stop waking him up. Stop waking him up this minute. This is not your job. There are 50 different devices he could use to wake himself up. Or he could just grow the F up and do it himself. I repeat, this is not your job and it is not your responsibility. He needs to manage his own business without disturbing his family. He needs to be an adult and a father. Not the a-hole, but you will be if you enable this anymore. This makes sense in theory, but in practice, it leaves OP and the child still get woken up by the alarm before he intends to wake up. Yeah, my husband was a chronic snooze pusher too, but is also a decent man. So when I told him that as soon as the alarm goes off, I'm up no matter what and can't go back to sleep, he stopped freaking doing it. OP's husband is a tool and should grow the heck up and go to bed earlier, like an adult with a wife and child. Not the a-hole, but if it's waking up the toddler, just have the toddler jump on top of him until he wakes up. He'll stop waking the toddler up early after that. I can tell you this will backfire greatly and just end up with an angry husband and a wife who has to deal with him yelling about not keeping the toddler out of the room. I try it occasionally. Oh no, if my husband yelled at me because his actions have consequences, he would not be my husband for very long. Not the a-hole. Snoozing your alarm for 45 minutes is ridiculously rude when there are other people who can hear it. You've obviously already spoken to him about it because he was on a couch. That clearly wasn't enough. If you and your toddler are both waking up to this alarm, it's an issue. Also, why are you the only one getting up in the morning with a toddler? Especially pregnant, you should be able to trade off with him, or you both get up. Am I the a-hole for not withdrawing my job application for the sake of my brother? I have an older brother who does not work by choice. Literally the most educated, smartest man I've ever known. He's just lazy. It's literally been years, and has been neck-bearding in our parents' basement while I'm busting my ass at school. I took out loans, and when I graduate, I'm expected to pay them back. Hence why I need a job on top of having to pay for other living expenses. My brother has never paid a penny for his education. My parents in their own name took out loans for him. Lately, my dad's been getting on his butt about getting a job, but my brother's been brushing him off. I was given a tip to apply to this really lucrative graduate program. It's not in my field whatsoever, but it's paid training. Really well paid. And I put in an application. I told my mom about it and she asked for the link to the program. I sent it without giving it a second thought and I got an interview. Now, when I told my mom about it, she asked me to withdraw my application so that I can give my brother a chance to apply. I said, what? He's had literal years to apply. This is my opportunity, even if it's not in my field. There's no guarantee that I'm going to get it anyway, but I want to at least try. I need a job and I don't ever want to be financially dependent on my family. I want a life of my own, and I feel like them asking me to withdraw my application from consideration is sabotaging my future for the sake of their golden child. I've always been put on the back burner for the sake of my brother, and they feel that is his opportunity to have since it's his field. But 1, I have no idea if he applied, and 2, I don't think he'd be allowed to apply because it's a new grad program, and he has not been a new grad in years. I don't plan to withdraw my application, but everyone in my family is telling me I'm being selfish. I've been banned from Thanksgiving, and I came home yesterday to find my mom converting my room into an office for my brother. My aunt has been bombarding me with texts telling me I'm not being considerate of family. My friends are mostly on my side, except one said she sees my parents' point of view. But I don't know. Family friends I see on public won't even look at me anymore. Over an interview. It's mad. Am I the a-hole for not giving my brother this opportunity? Not the a-hole. Their request is nonsensical, and your family appears to be smoking some wacky tobacco. Get the job and put your career trajectory on an onwards and upwards path and never look back. And when those mooches call wanting money and favors, go, new phone, who's this? Not the a-hole. Remind all the people in your family that are upset over this that you, unlike your brother, have school loans to pay. Jeez. Why is your family so lopsided in their support of their kids? Is your brother expected to care for your parents financially in their retirement? Unfortunately, that responsibility will fall to the girl in the family, aka me, the only girl in my Asian family. No, it won't, because you don't actually have to. When you are old, do you want to be begging and relying on your kids? No? Stop the cycle and mind your own finances, especially given the way they've been treating you. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my step-siblings I only help people I care about, which doesn't include them? My dad and his wife blended their family 7 years ago. Me, 16 male, and my brother, 13 male, come from our parents' marriage. Our mom died 9 years ago. Beth, 15 female. Luke, 14 male, and Laura, 12 female, come from dad's wife's first marriage. My dad and his wife also have Katie, 5 female together. I have a pretty complicated history with learning disability. I was diagnosed before my mom died and always struggled with school, reading, and writing. I used tech to help me write stuff like this. I can speak fine, but actually reading or writing anything, including numbers, is terrifying to me. It's something that has meant I need a lot of extra help in school. My mom used to read stuff like menus out to me. My brother actually started doing it when he got better at reading too. It's something I can't hide and it's embarrassing as hell. It's something my step-siblings have made fun of since forever. Beth made a really hurtful comment the first time she realized, and her mom corrected her. But since she and her siblings were not happy with her mom meeting my dad, and since I would do things differently, like I never did homework at home, they would tease me and taunt me behind their mom's back. I spoke up a few times, and it got corrected pretty hard. Eventually, it got to the point where I no longer saw the point of saying anything. Around that time, it got to the point where I would tell my friends to pretend my step-siblings weren't part of my family or my life, because I didn't want them to be. I got my license over the summer and got permission to drive my dad's car. I've been bringing my brother places sometimes, and suddenly my step-siblings have been trying to be nice to me. I ignore them. I say no to bringing them places. A few days ago, Beth wanted to go to this dance practice related to the dance classes she does. Her mom couldn't take her because she's sick. My dad wasn't around either. My dad's car was at home though, so she asked me to bring her. I said no. She followed me around begging and I kept saying no. Luke and Laura joined in and they said we're family, and family should do things for each other, and how I never help them out. I told them I only help people I care about, and it doesn't include them. Their mom overheard, and once my dad got home, they told me what I said was really unfair and cruel. They took away my ability to drive the car. Dad wanted me to apologize and say I didn't mean it. But I did, and I can see they all think I'm wrong for that. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Sit down with your dad and stepmom at a time when you guys can discuss alone and emotions aren't high, and explain your reasoning and how you feel. Your stepmom needs to understand the depth of hurt that your step-siblings have inflicted on you over the years. Because right now, they probably just view it as a typical step-sibling arguments. This has been discussed in depth before. My brother got in some trouble about 3 years ago for locking Beth and Luke in a room while Laura was at a friend's house and the adults were busy. When Dad found out, he was furious and explained why my brother had done it. We ended up in therapy with Dad and his wife, and the whole thing was dragged out there, including them saying we shouldn't stop caring about them because of the stuff that was happening, and how they would deal with it and our step-siblings would grow. For me, I never started to care about them, and I told them that and why. But I think they dismiss it because we're all still kids, even knowing the stuff that has been said. They see it as they will grow up and will be close as adults, but I don't ever want to be family with them. And I don't know how many more times I can tell them all the stuff that has happened and why I feel like I do. I see it as pointless by now. If it's been a few years since you've discussed it in depth, it might be worth a shot again now that you're a bit older. Otherwise, your parents really suck for not hearing you out. Either way, I'm sorry you have to go through this. It's not fair to you no matter what. The parents are probably still holding on with both hands on the dream of perfect blended family. Yeah, they are. I know they think it can still happen. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he is a bad father? My 14 female mom passed away about 8 months ago. She got very sick a few years ago, and eventually her body couldn't handle it anymore. Her and my dad had been divorced since I was 5. After the funeral, I moved in with my dad, 40 male, stepmom Jane, 39 female, and 2 stepsisters, Alex and Sophie, 12 female and 13 female. To be frank, we've never gotten along. Jane has tried to replace my mother numerous times, even refusing to let me go back to my mom's house one weekend because I wouldn't call her mom. She's always been like this, forcing me to hang out with my stepsisters, take family photos, call them family, do family game night and so on. And ever since my mom died, she's gotten worse. Recently, she started to refer me as her daughter at family functions. None of my mom's side of the family likes her. Last night, Jane had friends over. I came home at around 7 because I had practice after school. My dad told me to come and say hello to everyone even though I didn't want to, but I did it to make him happy. When I walked into the living room, Jane jumped up and gave me a huge hug, which got awkward really fast. She turned around and said to her friends, "This is Opie, mine and Dad's name's first daughter." I stopped her and said, "No, you're my stepmom, not my mom." Everyone was silent, and my dad told me I needed to come with him. He took me to my room, which I shared with my stepsisters, and asked me what I was doing. I said that Jane wasn't my mother, so I wouldn't refer her as such. He started yelling at me about being ungrateful, spoiled, and a selfish brat for not accepting that this was my new family now. I started crying and yelled that he was a bad father, and that this was his new family. They never would be mine. I guess Jane heard our yelling because she ran into the room and told me that she was my mom, and the other woman didn't matter anymore because she's dead. I'm staying with my grandparents, mom's side, because Jane kicked me out, and I'm starting to feel guilty for not being more open. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your mother may have passed, but she's still your mom. And it's wildly inappropriate not only of your stepmother to refer to you as her daughter, without clearing that with you first, but even more so of your father to have such little regard and respect for your feelings that he would go off on you for correcting her. It might be for the best if you speak with your grandparents to see if they're willing to take over as your guardians for the time being, because it sounds like your father might not be mentally or emotionally mature enough to be doing so at this time. I agree. Plus, the stepmom is only connected to the OP via marriage. The minute the marriage ends via death, the stepmom is no one to her. Not the a-hole. Come on. You think you were too harsh for yelling at the woman who told you your mother doesn't matter anymore because she's dead? Really? OP is also 14 and probably still mourning, so maybe they don't deserve to be helped that way.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my younger sister money to maintain her lavish lifestyle after many years of hard work causing a fallout with my family? Okay, I'll try to keep this as short as I can, but I need to vent a little, because I feel like my entire family is mad at me, and I don't know if I'm in the wrong here. I, 34 female, have worked my butt off for over a decade to get where I am today. I came from a pretty average family. Growing up, we weren't poor, but we weren't well off either. I had to bust my butt through school, take extra shifts, save every penny while others were out partying and buying things I couldn't even dream of affording. Now, after years of grinding, I finally own my own home, have a decent savings, and I'm in a good place financially. It wasn't easy, and I'm proud of myself for getting here. Then there's my younger sister, Sarah, 29 female. Sarah's always been different. I love her, but she's never been great with money or responsibilities in general. She's had a history of overspending and not really caring about the consequences. While I was working multiple jobs and going back to school, she was out buying designer bags, going on trips, eating out at fancy restaurants, all the things I had to forgo. Here's the kicker though, our parents have always cuddled her. Even now at 29, they're still helping her out financially. They've paid off her rent a few times, they cover some of her bills, and they even bailed her out when she maxed out her credit cards more than once. She's basically been able to live this luxurious life without putting in the work. Well, recently Sarah hit a rough patch. Surprise, surprise. She called me in a panic because she couldn't keep up with her expenses and asked if I could lend her some money. At first I felt bad and thought, okay, maybe I can help her out this one time. But then I realized she wasn't asking for money to pay rent or cover an emergency. She wanted me to help her maintain her lifestyle. She straight up said she didn't want to sell her designer stuff or downgrade her apartment because she deserves nice things. I told her no. I said that while I love her, I'm not going to throw money at her so she can keep living this way. I suggested she start making smarter financial decisions, like cutting back on luxuries, maybe selling some of her more expensive things, and living within her means. Well, she didn't take it well. She got super mad and accused me of being selfish and forgetting where I came from. She went on about how I'm in a good place now, so I should help her, because that's what family does. Now she's gone crying to our parents, and of course they've taken her side. They called me saying I'm being stingy and that money is just money, and that family is more important. They've helped her as much as they can, and now they think it's my turn to step up. I tried to explain that it's not about me hoarding my money, but about the fact that she's living irresponsibly. And I don't want to enable that behavior. They didn't care, and now the whole family's upset with me. I've even gotten calls from aunts and uncles telling me I'm wrong for not helping her out. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I worked so hard for what I have, and it doesn't feel fair that I'm expected to bail her out so she can keep living this ridiculous lifestyle. I love her, but I just don't think it's right to reward bad behavior, even if she is my sister. So, am I the a-hole for not giving her the money and causing this massive fallout with my family? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. If your parents truly believe that money is just money, then they should be happy to sell some of their investments or other assets, or even delay vacation or retirement plans, to continue to fund a lifestyle that they've raised Sarah to expect. And anyone that calls you, all the uncles and aunts, tell them since they are butting into this business, then they should also help out. So your sister can keep spending money on designer jewelry. Watch the conversation change real quick. Thank you so much for offering to help support Sarah's lifestyle. How much can I put you down for contributing? I know she's been eyeing a new handbag and some nice jewelry, so I know she's going to need a lot. Is $10,000 starting out good, or should I put you down for more, do you think? If Sarah wants to be a trad wife or a stay-at-home girlfriend, she needs to start with a rich partner. Seems she skipped that step. Not a-hole. Not a-hole. You've worked hard for what you have and deserve to keep it. It's like the parable of grasshopper and the ant. If your parents want to bail her out, they can get a second mortgage. That way, your sister won't need to sell any of her nice stuff or move to a cheaper place. Because let's be honest here, if you end up needing help from your parents, there's nothing left for you. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after what she did to my fiancé? So my 28 female sister Ella, 31 female, is getting married in 2 weeks. We've always been close, even though we have our differences. I've always been more of a laid-back, introverted person, while Ella's the life of the party and loves being the center of attention. It never bothered me much, until now. I've been engaged to my fiancé Mark, 29 male, for about a year. He's wonderful, kind, supportive, and just an all-around great guy. My family has always liked him, or so I thought. But about a month ago, something happened that made me question everything. Ella asked Mark to meet her for coffee one day, saying she needed to help picking out a wedding gift for me. I didn't think much of it at the time, but when Mark came home, he was really quiet. After some coaxing, he finally told me what happened. Apparently, Ella spent the entire time trying to convince him that I wasn't right for him. She told him I was too boring, that I wasn't ambitious enough, that he could do better. She even went so far as to suggest that he should call off the engagement and see other people. Mark was completely blindsided and upset. He said he defended me, but it was clear that Ella was relentless. I was furious when I found out. I confronted Ella and she didn't even deny it. She said she was just looking out for Mark and that she wants the best for him. When I asked her why she thought it was her place to interfere in our relationship, she just shrugged and said she was being honest. I told her that what she did was completely out of line and hurtful, not just to me, but to Mark as well. She didn't apologize. Instead, she doubled down, saying that if I was confident in my relationship, I wouldn't be so upset. I ended up leaving her house in tears. Since then, I've barely spoken to her. My parents found out about the situation, and while they agree that what Ella did was wrong, they're begging me to still attend the wedding. They think that missing it would cause a huge rift in the family, and that I should just let it go for the sake of peace. But I don't know if I can. Every time I think about what she did, it makes my blood boil. I feel betrayed and hurt. I don't know if I can just pretend everything is fine for her big day. Mark supports whatever decision I make, but I can tell he's hurt by this too. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to go to my sister's wedding after what she did to my fiancé? Not the a-hole. Tell your parents you're staying home for the sake of peace. Your peace. Or tell them that if you go, you will object to the wedding, as it's clear that Ella has feelings for Mark and the wedding is a sham. Not the a-hole. She might be getting married to someone else, but she clearly has feelings for Mark. Right. OP's sister is marrying a man she doesn't love. OP should look out for this guy and let him know what his fiancé tried to do and why. OP's sister would understand, right? I would definitely have coffee with him and let him know he can do better. Not a-hole. Narcissists, cheaters, basically generally crappy people, all bank on the fact that your reaction to their toxic behavior will be viewed as an overreaction, and they try to pin a blame on you. This is especially true in family dynamics, with this ridiculous belief that somehow being related by blood gives someone a free pass to crap all over you. If she ever is truly repent, then maybe there would be room for grace and forgiveness. But until then, I would consider her dead to you. Parents think Opie not attending wedding could cause a rift in the family. No, Ella caused the rift by meeting Mark and trying to ruin Opie's relationship. The blame is on Ella, not Opie. You were right. Opie will get the blame for her reaction. No one will be concentrating on Ella's behavior that started this whole issue. They always try to blame the reaction to awful behavior instead of the behavior itself. It's so messed up. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to move my wedding date after my brother said he can't make it? So I, 28 female, am getting married in 2 months. My fiance, 29 male, and I have been planning this wedding for over a year. We picked the venue, sent out save the dates last year, and everyone has known about the date for ages. Like we're all in, the venue is booked, caterers, flowers, photographer. Basically everything is set, and deposits have been paid. At this point, we're just counting down the days, excited to get married and celebrate with everyone. Enter my younger brother, 25 male. He just got into this super competitive internship program that he's been wanting for a while, and he is over the moon about it. I'm genuinely happy for him because I know this is a big deal for his career. The problem is, he found out the start date is the same week as my wedding, and he told me he can't come anymore. Obviously, I was disappointed, but I assumed he'd be a little bummed too and we'd move on. Instead, he asked me if I'd consider changing the wedding date. At first, I thought he was joking, but nope, dead serious. He's all, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I really don't want to miss your wedding, but I can't be in 2 places at once. I told him there's literally no way I'm changing the date. We're 2 months out. Everything is booked, invites have been sent, guests have RSVP'd, and people have already planned time off and booked hotels. Not to mention, moving a wedding isn't as simple as just picking another day, especially at this point. There's a whole cascade of other stuff I'd have to move, and that's if the venue even has another open date anytime soon. He got annoyed and basically said, "So you care more about a party than your brother's future?" Which really pissed me off. Like, come on. It's not like I didn't give everyone, including him, a huge heads up about this date. He's known for over a year. I get that the internship is important, but it's not like he couldn't have communicated with them and tried to work something out, right? Now, my mom is all over me about it, saying that I'll regret not having him there, and that I'm being selfish by not even considering changing the date. She's implying that family is more important than one day, but I feel like this is one day that's actually about me and my fiancé, and I don't think it's fair to be expected to turn my life upside down to accommodate his work. My dad is staying out of it, classic, but I can tell he thinks I'm being a bit unreasonable too. Fiancé is backing me up, but I can tell he feels weird about the whole thing. He's a big family guy and doesn't want any drama, but he also knows how much we've already put into this wedding. I don't want to sound like I don't care about my brother because I do. I love him, and I hate that he won't be there. But at the same time, I don't think it's reasonable to ask someone to change their wedding date this close. It's not like we're talking about a birthday party or something. This is an entire wedding. So yeah, am I the a-hole for refusing to change the date and basically telling him if he can't come, that's on him? Or should I be more flexible here? Now for the top comments. Your brother and your family's opinions are absurd. Not a-hole. Why is this kid so delusional? Did he often expect things to be moved around for him? Did he often get extensions on things? Is he the golden child? Mom is backing him and dad is staying out of it. If they think Opie's wedding doesn't get priority in their own damn life, it shows who's probably been getting preferential treatment. Yep, son versus daughter. Mom backing the son because family? Reeks of a golden child scapegoat dynamic. Dad not wanting to rock the boat is just an enabler. You can't move mountains for him. You can't screw over everyone else who saved the date. There's no argument here. The date is the date. Now, I get that he doesn't want to make waves, but my sister's wedding seems like an easy ask. Is it on a weekday? Why can't you do both? This. A lot of times travel/hotels/time off can't be rescheduled. Everyone else planned accordingly. They shouldn't all be screwed over for one person. Not a-hole. He's 25 but acting like he's 13. The fact that your mother, who should know better, is on you about it combined with his attitude tells me he's the golden child. Tell mom if she really cared about family, she would liquidate her savings to rebook the venue, the vendors, and the travel and accommodations of all the guests to make sure your brother can come, along with apology letters to all those who took vacation days for nothing. Last story. Would I be the a-hole if I tell my friend her bridesmaids won't be throwing her an extensive bachelorette party if we aren't invited to the wedding? So I, 27 female, am friends with Jane, 28 female. Jane and her fiancé Brad, 29 male, recently got engaged. Jane is one of my best friends and we have known each other since college. When talking about our future weddings, Jane has always expressed that she wants me and a handful of our closest friends to be her bridesmaids and to have a destination wedding. When I saw Jane and Brad the day they got engaged, one of the first things Jane said to me was how excited she was for me and our other friend to be her bridesmaids. This was about a month ago. However, now that Jane and Brad have started looking at wedding planning, they have decided to have a tiny destination wedding in Colorado and only immediate family will be invited, to save money. They also plan on having a casual party for all of the rest of their family and friends after. But there will be no ceremony or sit-down dinner and will be very clearly not a second wedding. Even though I was disappointed and hurt to hear that I would not be invited to the actual wedding, I understand that it is their right to have whatever kind of wedding they want. And if it is not important to her that her best friends be there, that's her choice. But what irked me is that Jane still expects a bridal shower, a long weekend trip to an expensive destination for a bachelorette party, and mentioned a registry for wedding gifts. I find it a bit ridiculous that she still expects to have these things thrown by, and presumably paid for, by people that aren't even invited to the actual wedding. She still insists on calling us her bridesmaids, but since we will not be present at the wedding and will have no special designation at the party, I don't see how we actually are. Our friends are a bit split on what to do about this. Some want to confront her about this, some think that would be an a-hole move. So would I be the a-hole for telling Jane that if she's not having a traditional wedding, she can't expect traditional wedding benefits? Edited to add, I think a few people are misunderstanding my point here. I'm not saying I don't want to celebrate her at all, or that she shouldn't get anything outside of her wedding. What's bothering me is her stated expectation of a big shower and bachelorette trip. She explicitly said she wants to go to Scottsdale. We are in Tennessee, so this requires a flight. Without an invitation to the wedding, she could throw any kind of backyard, courthouse, big, small, whatever wedding, and I would be happy to do all of the above, as long as I was actually invited. Not a-hole. You aren't bridesmaids. You are friends of the bride. That being said, however, if she specifically mentions the reason for the small ceremonies to save money, then it seems to me that she does want the big wedding you all talked about, but they can't afford it. She is probably really disappointed she can't have the wedding of her dreams, and now she's even more disappointed she won't have her dream bachelorette party either. Why can't you throw her a bridal party just because you love her and want her to have a bridal party? Totally understand your point. They did say the reason is to save money. However, she and her fiancé both have great jobs. He drives an expensive car. They have a designer dog. They recently bought a home for about $400K. And she is constantly buying expensive clothes. Also, Brad's family is rich. And she told me his parents offered to pay for at least part of the wedding. So they are choosing this style of wedding because that's what they want to do. Not that they can't afford to have a slightly larger wedding. There is also a lot of background, but the short version is that a few years ago, Brad had a medical emergency when Jane and I lived together, and I and her other friends went above and beyond for them during this time, which I was more than happy to do because I love them both. But I think that is contributing to this feeling a bit more like a slap in the face than if it was any other friend/couple. I do still want to celebrate her and their upcoming marriage. My feelings are stemming from the expectation of an extensive bachelorette trip without an inclusion in the actual wedding. Not a-hole. Bridesmaids who aren't invited to the wedding aren't bridesmaids. Not even guests. Apparently, they're just ATMs. And party planners. They should plan a destination weekend party for the bride, then not invite her. It's the bride's favorite type of event after all.